This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back to Live Talk with Dr. B. Hill. We are going to have some always uh, interesting conversations. So, we're going to have continued guests today, Dr. B.
And I see you have the drums for a drum roll.
Oh, yes.
And that
Spirit.
should bring us on. And that should bring Dr. Smith in, the drum roll, and Travis and Josh. And we're so happy that you all are here. I hope
The
you
little
all have
drummer
done your
boy.
Christmas shopping. And
Ah,
Dr. Smith, I hope you've gotten yours for your wife. Otherwise, you're going to be living in that car. And then who are you gonna talk into rapping?
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
You know we don't rap. You know what we tell the kids? We tell the kids that Santa doesn't rap.
Yeah,
Listen,
it
one
sounds like my
one
yeah.
year, but hear us out. One year we wrapped everything. It took us 7 hours. We
Wow.
can't
Oh,
do that.
yes.
And then
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
on
yes.
top of all the toys that you have to put together that you can't wrap,
Right.
because some of them you have to actually set up so they can see
Right.
them. Oh my gosh, we never did that again.
If you're smart, you pay the store.
Yeah, right.
Setup fee. In the days of the wrapping people that stood on the side, and you would pay them,
Yes,
and they would wrap your gifts, they're
I
gone.
remember that. Yep.
So I heard the
Anyway,
lady came on yesterday right when I got booted off again when me, you, and Josh were talking, Dr. Smith.
Actually, I think her coming on might have been what actually booted you off because on
Okay.
my the change was together. But yes, you just missed her. Very very nice person. I'd love to hear more about the story. And I wasn't sure if she was going to be with us today, or if we were going to share some more
hey
information
honey,
together. So
can you come on?
if she's not able to join, I was kind of thinking we might go back. We kind of rushed through the Dell study. We never even touched the Gang stuff. And by the
She'll
way,
be on in
Travis,
5 minutes.
okay, Travis, I want you to know I spoke at length with an attorney this morning.
Okay.
Great.
I'm not certain. I'm not certain that the attorney will take the case. Okay, dialogue with someone. Normally, when we say, Johnson and Johnson, Teva, and McKesson and Cardinal, they run for the hills.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is one of the first attorneys that didn't run for the hills. Um, so my fingers crossed on that one. No guarantees, but at least somebody talked.
Amen.
Definitely,
Good.
definitely.
Awesome. Awesome.
That would be so
And
nice.
then Dr. B and Chrissy did uh, an excellent job of getting everything resubmitted to the IRB. I am so hopeful that we get a thumbs up for the IRB today or tomorrow, and we can start mailing out the DNA. There's always a possibility the IRB will come back and have requests for more information, which we will happily provide. But the turnaround time of each more information, more information, more information, it almost adds another week. And if we're going to get CLIA certification before the end of the year, we sure would like to have a thumbs up today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like pretty good,
That's good
positive,
progress.
motivating news. So,
Yes. Really good.
Well,
I can
It's been a long process, I'll tell you. Every time
well,
we turn around.
I will say this. I think one of the only reasons the attorney talked to us today is because of the CLIA certification test. We just don't have any credibility on our own. We just people look at us like we're a bunch of nuts.
That's how
Right.
it's going to be to begin with, which
Yep.
I think we all pretty much knew this. I mean, I
Yep.
I knew it when we were
I do.
first start. Like I know how it's going to be, but I just have faith that it's gonna be okay. Like this is the beginning to everything. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so you know it's
Travis,
going to
I'm
take
going to
time for
disagree.
people to accept the new you know evidence and the new science, and it's going to take them you know time to be retrained on what's the right way and what's the wrong way. You know, because they've been
Travis,
taught, you know, this.
I'm going to disagree with you because it's burned into my personality. Disagree with you. Um, I'm not disagreeing, with you, but Travis, the world should have changed based on your blood work.
Correct. I'm with you, Dr.
I
Smith.
get that, but that's in a perfect world, and unfortunately, we do not live in a perfect world. It's a very complicated, complex world. Unfortunately, we live in.
But it shouldn't be this imperfect.
You're right.
No, it shouldn't. But I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, it
Doug, we're
shouldn't be
fighting
this
an
way.
uphill battle.
Yep.
The
Totally
world
agree.
Yeah,
will
like
on Travis's blood work. Travis and the other
Yep.
14, the world should have changed on that blood work.
I agree. I totally agree.
You have to open people's
they have too
eyes
much to
and
lose.
their ears.
They're not going to make it that easy for us.
No, no.
Nothing's
We're
ever
Well,
fighting.
nothing. No, let me tell you something. Nothing ever worth fighting for is going to be easy. Nothing
Correct.
ever worth fighting for is ever going to be easy. If you think it's going to be cut and dry and easy, you're wrong. Because
I
if it's
will
Correct.
worth
say
fighting for in this world,
I will say
it,
this, Travis. If the world had changed like it should have based on your blood work, I don't know if we would have worked as hard on the CLIA certification for the DNA test. So there may be an upside to the fact that the world didn't change when it should have. It forced us to be better, stronger.
Correct. I like that, Dr. Smith.
it's a positive way to
But
look at it. I mean, because
Yes.
that's
And
the
we got
right
to
way.
stay positive.
Still,
We
still,
got to stay positive.
until it becomes public knowledge, it doesn't really matter what we have until it becomes public knowledge.
You're
And
right.
that's the big thing, is to let it become public knowledge.
probably by filing the class action lawsuit, because that's something people can understand. They may not understand the science, but they understand class action lawsuit.
Yes. And that's the whole reason for this whole situation going around. When it gets
Well,
out there, it will change.
remember a few years back, Dr. Smith, when Johnson and Johnson was sued. I can't remember exactly the exact dollar amount. I think it was $787 million they settled out of court or something like that. But that guy became, you know, you saw that guy on the news every day for like a month. The guy that was the lead plaintiff of that case. And before that, you didn't know anything about him. You never heard a word about it. You didn't know about the case. You didn't know what Johnson & Johnson did. And then all of a sudden, when the media started covering it and and word got out they were going to settle out of court and this and that and the third, everybody wanted to talk to that guy. Everybody wanted to hear the story. Everybody wanted to know what was going on. And I mean, it was a long process for them as well. But you know, like I said earlier, anything worth fighting for is you know, it's going to be a long process. It's not going to be
Correct.
easy.
It's
Yes.
going to be interesting
Very true.
what happens, and I can understand if people do not want to settle out of court with Johnson and Johnson. I could understand if people want to see Johnson and Johnson stand trial for what they have contributed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Settling out of
of course.
court.
That's what people are tired of seeing. People, and including me, and I'm not going to speak for Josh, but I can only imagine how he feels as well. But we're tired of seeing that. A slap on the wrist, write him a check, and let's move on. We're sick of that. There's no
Right.
accountability. It's not
Well,
about
Right.
just the money. We want
Yeah,
accountability as
money doesn't mean anything to them, but having their reputation and what they did out there, that means more.
correct.
their name,
Yeah.
their legacy. That's what means the most to
That's
these
right.
people. and money, like she's saying, is no object to these people. So even if they got to cut a check for $6 billion, that's nothing to them. They're like, $6 billion, we got away with it for $6 billion. Can you believe that? Oh my God! In their
And we're
mind, that's what
still
they're
selling
thinking.
it. And we're still selling it.
Yeah.
Exactly, and we still got
Along
it on
with
them.
the
We're selling
antidote.
more of it now than we were before we paid them the
That's
$6 billion.
right.
Can you believe these guys? That's exactly what they're gonna think. So the
And we
money,
have the
just the money, is
antidote.
not gonna
Right.
work.
hmm Right. They're making money hand over fist both ways.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
selling
Yeah,
the
and that's
poison and the antidote.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, it's
exactly. That's
amazing.
another good point.
Why is it the way that it is? The companies are still manufacturing. The companies are still selling. The psychiatrists are still telling people that, oh, opioid withdrawal won't kill you. When the science is so obvious in a different direction, it just boggles my mind.
The FDA has to put their foot down.
Yeah. It goes back to that honor system. If you to the beginning of our conversation, like why did it not change with Travis's blood work? That honor system has been shot to pieces like with a shotgun. It's just holes all in it. So that's
hmm
no longer, I think, in this world. You can't say have a. This is my word. This is what I'm going to do. Like there's no accountability to that no more. Brother Travis, like we talked about, you used to go borrow money at the bank just off your words. I'll pay that back. You didn't have to worry about credit, your debit, or Social Security numbers and all this other stuff. You could just go and say, "My name's this," and
Welcome,
uh,
Christy.
hey, there's Miss Christie.
Hi, how are you? Sorry.
Christy, I want to
Hey, Miss
introduce you to
Christie.
Dr. Smith,
Hi,
to
We
how
met
you doing?
Josh, and to Travis. And if you'll
Hey
turn
there.
your phone sideways, we'll see a better picture of you.
I've got a good picture, B.
There
Yeah,
Oh,
you
good.
go.
there you are.
And Christy has
Yeah.
volunteered to come onto the program and tell us a little bit about her history and what has occurred with her and join into our conversation.
Awesome.
Welcome,
That
Chrissy. We're
sounds
glad to.
wonderful.
Yes, so glad.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let you tell us all about
Nice to
what
meet
happened
everyone.
to you.
I got okay. Well, I was injured back in 1999. I was working a part-time job. Just enrolled in college, law school actually, and working at Dunkin' Donuts and got burned severely on coffee. Had a little over a third-degree burn. Went for the first couple days, they wouldn't allow me to go see a doctor. When I finally did go see the doctor, gangrene had started setting in on my right hand, and they sent me to a neurologist. And within the week, I was placed on OxyContin. It's pretty much my story. I had 3 kids at home. That's why I was going back to law school, and they just continued to up my dose. Every so often, I would just get my dose up. By the time I would say by March of 2000, I was on 80 milligrams of Oxycontin and getting over 300 of them prescribed.
Whoa.
Oh my
Wow.
Yeah.
gosh.
What happened when you tried to stop?
Oh, that wasn't, I couldn't even pick my head up or take care of my children. Or when I presented it to my doctor, they said, well, it's not the medicine. You probably just got the cold, the flu, whatever. And I told them it absolutely is the medicine. And they said, well, Um, they also they said, well, maybe it's the OxyIRs we've placed you on, and we'll just up your dose on both. And that's what they did. They just continued to up my dose and up my dose, and I mean, it. I wasn't. There was no stopping. Once I actually started taking it, see, I at first I wasn't taking what I was prescribed. I would take like a half of the OxyIR when I'd be in a lot of pain, and that would be the extent of what I would take. Well, I never was a street person, so I went to the doctor. They did a urine test on me, and my doctor came in and he said, "Look, I've never done this, and I probably will never do it again, and don't know why I'm doing it now. But if you don't want to lose your case against Dunkin' Donuts, I would advise you to start taking what you're prescribed." And I started by the end of 2000. I was so far gone on it. I was getting 380 Oxycontin 80s prescribed,
God.
160 Oxy R10s prescribed, and then I was probably by 2001, I was taking all those within 2 weeks and buying I don't know how many in the street, because it's
My
just
God.
like more and more, like your body gets immune to it. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. Like, my body, that wouldn't be enough. I would just need more and more, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And then when I tried to tell my doctor, they wanted to switch me to methadone, and I didn't like the way methadone did. It didn't give me the same effects as Oxycontin, so it was pretty much I was stuck on it then. And I didn't realize exactly how bad until I left my ex-husband and moved to back to Illinois, and then I realized how bad I was, because I was so sick. I was curled in a ball. I couldn't move. I was throwing up. I couldn't eat. I was using the restroom. My whole body just shut down, sweating. I would just, it was miserable. I'm
That's
sure the
Wow.
really
same
something.
story as everybody.
So I
Well,
guess
we
I
all have, yeah, we all have pretty much the same, side of, sickness and everything else, fear of being sick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we all have different, things that happen leading up to it. But most of us are all the same. We were either sick or injured, and we got put on, pain meds. That's literally what happened to all of us. But
That's
Yeah.
it blows my mind that you were prescribed almost, 500 pills a month. Uh, when I was still using opioids, I would have been jealous of that. Like, wow, you get 500 pills a
yeah.
month. But
Yeah,
now
I know.
after
I know
being,
people that got a lot more than I did. So, I mean, yeah, I know
Well,
exactly what you're saying. Like, you're getting that, and I still got to go out here and get these. Why won't
yeah, like
I
I
do it?
was only getting 120 a month. So to hear that, it's like mind-boggling. Like, the clean person in me, since I've been off of opioids for so many years, now I'm almost like I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe, but it makes sense. Like, you know, oh, you're feeling bad, and you're trying to tell them it's the medication, and they're just like, oh, just take more. It's
Yeah.
almost like they knew that if you took more, the sickness would go away, because they knew your body was becoming immune to the milligrams that you were taking. That's what it almost sounds like to me.
Yeah, they
And I'm
knew
just,
it. I agree,
it,
they knew it.
I mean, and I'm not saying all doctors knew, because a lot of them didn't, but you got to remember also that, Oxycontin, Purdue Pharma, they were promoting that stuff like crazy back then in the 90s. I mean, it
Yeah,
was all over the,
absolutely.
yeah, it was all
I,
over the TV. It was in the stores. I mean, they had
hmm
everything everywhere. They had people going out, sales reps going out trying to sell it to all the pharmacies. I mean, and they were telling most of the doctors that there was no side effects. It wasn't addictive. Da 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 da.
Yeah, that's
Most.
when they look at you. I think the doctors caught on by the mid late 90s, and I think they knew what was going on with me.
Yeah, but the money was, I'm
Mhm.
always stuck on one thing, the money,
Yeah, they
That's
didn't care what it did to anyone as long as they got that money, and that's where it's really crazy. But I'll tell you, when I moved to Illinois, I couldn't get a doctor to prescribe me even a Vicodin. And that's when I hit the streets, and that's how I ended up on heroin and crack cocaine and anything I could get my hands on, you
that's what
know.
happens to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once
And
you
it's
lose your
just,
meds, yeah,
yeah,
It goes tumbling
and we
down.
know that what happened to your legal career,
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't
right?
get it, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go back. But uh, I think my biggest thing about the whole thing is they knew all this, and I had children, I had kids, you know. I ended up getting cancer. In 2004, cervical cancer, stage 3, they ended up finding. And, before you go to surgery, they say you can't take nothing, don't do nothing. Shit, I think I popped like 4 Oxycontins before 80s before I went in, because there was no way I could go into surgery with not having my medicine, not knowing how I was going to come out. But I think it almost killed me because they started searching for my husband. Like my lungs started, they started thinking pneumonia was getting in my lungs, and I think it's because I took so many of the pain pills before I
Well,
went into
Dr.
surgery.
Smith, I think you can show scientifically exactly what was going on.
Yeah,
With the you mean the changes that
Come in your
that
body.
yeah.
with the DNA?
Yes.
Yes, yes. In fact, we Ms. Boswell, we can walk you through an enormous amount of information, but it raises a question. Where to start? I think these guys know me well enough to know what my first question is going to be, and that is, it sounds like we're going all the way back into the late '90s. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And here's my first question, and you might have to take a minute and think about it, and it may not be you know a fair question. We didn't mean to hit you by surprise, but this is always going to be my first question. Do you remember the first time that you felt the sickness from withdrawal, and did it catch you by surprise?
I do remember, and I did think I was sick. And when it continued and continued, I went up to the doctor's office that I was being prescribed because what happened is I'd actually let someone I know. I didn't I didn't know nothing about pain pills. So I wasn't aware how many, what they do and how people want them like they do until I got there on them like that. But a friend of mine, she had a friend and she's like, my friend's sick. She needs some pain. I'm like, girl, I got some. So I gave her a bunch of my medicine, not knowing this was in the very beginning, not knowing I was going to be sick off it. And that's when I realized, hold on, she's sick. I done gave her half of my medicine. I'm sick. It's the medicine. So I would say maybe like the 6 month, because once people started realizing, you start hanging around the crowds, because I was part owner of carloan.com in North Carolina for Moore Buick Pontiac in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So I I there was a guy in service, and he's the one that said, "Hey, it's your husband said you're on OxyContin." He's the one that told me, "Hey, it's the pills. Get here, I got one. When you get yours, we'll swap." But that's how I knew it was the pills, because he told me.
And that was over 25 years ago. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
Does it surprise you that you remember something that clearly from 25 years ago?
No, only because of how sick I was. I mean, it's
Oh,
that sickness that you'll never forget.
wow.
If you ever
Yeah.
experience that sickness, it's something you'll never forget. You'll
I just
remember
Travis,
got
everything about
chills.
it.
I just got chills when I literally have goosebumps all up and down my arms when she said
I
that.
felt that too, Travis. She said the magic
Yeah.
word. She said that sickness that you never forget. Chris,
Right.
Miss Boswell, welcome. You just walked into the middle of a conversation we've been having for
Thank you.
weeks and weeks, and I'll do my best in 45 seconds or less to kind of lay out. I don't know if you know who Travis is. Okay. I don't know if you know who Josh is. Travis is our warrior. Josh is our deacon. Okay.
Okay.
Call them, and if you stay with us long enough, you're going to find out. You're going to find out why. Um, Travis is also the lead plaintiff in our class action lawsuit that we're planning on filing against the manufacturers. Travis also, and I will always respect him I will always respect Travis for this. I think it really defines who this
He's
person
the
is.
one that took the came off the medicine and took the
Yes,
first DNA. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Look at that, Travis. You're
Yes.
famous.
I
I
remember, and I
don't know
said,
about all
man,
that, but thanks, guys.
I
But
said, man, I would
Ms.
love to
Boswell,
take
we have
that
a
DNA
theory.
test, but I just don't think
No,
I
you
could do
wouldn't.
the.
I don't think you would want to take, and we couldn't do it because we'd had to shut it down. I mean, my levels on the catecholamines, once he explains everything, they were compatible with death. It was too dangerous to continue.
Well, and
So
that's where my mind was. It was like, I don't want to go through that again. I get like when I can't afford to get my script in time, I freak out. I start freaking out because it's just like, you know, what am I gonna do now? You know,
yeah, I know
it,
Yep,
exactly what you mean. We're all
absolutely.
on the same page.
There's
Yes,
your
yeah,
PTSD.
And
yes.
yeah.
that's the so Ms. Boswell, what we're beginning to learn from our people, we didn't really know this. Okay, what we're beginning to learn is our people are telling us that and once they felt that sickness the first time, when they look back and think about it, yeah, their behavior changed a little bit because now all of a sudden they're taking steps to make sure they never run out and never feel that sickness again.
I was horrible. I was horrible. We almost lost our house because I didn't care if he paid the mortgage. I didn't care. I just wanted the money to go get my stuff. I was not gonna sit here and be sick. He lost his truck. He had to go back and get that. There's just Jerry's been through a lot, you know. And I mean, right now, just lost all of his retirement money trying to keep me not sick. It's sad,
And the
you know.
question that we're putting before everybody is once your brain sickness,
I
do you really still have free will? Or has something changed in your body to where your sense of free will is now different? You're going to do whatever you got to do to not be sick.
It's absolutely different. I would never do and expect the things I did and expected when I was sick like that. I would never do that as me. My kids are my world. My kids didn't even matter. So
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely
yeah,
no way. I
and
mean,
I
my
know
son right
exactly.
now is in prison because he ended up thinking he could take the pills he'll show me and ended up on heroin. So
Dr. B,
yeah.
we're going to run out of time today, but I can tell from Travis and Josh, I can tell um, we would all really like the opportunity, if possible, to kind of slowly walk Ms. Boswell through some of what we've been talking about over the past few weeks, and get her take on it, get her input on it.
Christy, can you
absolutely.
join us
Absolutely.
again next week?
I can whenever I'm free. I'm not employed. I don't work. I'm always home. So
Monday,
yeah.
then it's Monday, and sign on with us at 25 after 12,
Okay.
our time, Eastern
Travis,
Standard.
Josh, where do you want to start? Which
I
what?
just I got emotional when she was talking about her kids because
Yeah,
like I told y'all the story
it's
when I went in my daughter's room and I stole her TV off the wall and just I mean I was doing things that were just I agree with her 100%. Like it changes you. Like you would do
absolutely.
things that you would never do now. Like it's just and it's crazy. Like it when she said that it really just hit me for a second. Like I teared up because I was like, wow, I don't think my kids mattered to me either at that time. Like and so like I really felt that when she said that because it's true. Like, my kids and my family weren't
Nothing
the most
matters
important
but
thing to
that
me.
next not sick.
Yeah, like that's all that mattered to me
Right,
at that time. Like and I
right.
almost lost my
Yeah, because
family as
nothing
well.
matters
Like,
but that next not sick.
yep, you're
Yeah, exactly.
100% correct.
Yeah,
My
100%
kids quit
correct.
talking to me. My kids my kids didn't see my my kids
I know what she's
yeah.
trying to say, that she's got some problems with her speaker there, but her kids stopped talking to her.
Yeah. I know what she's trying to say.
Yeah. Bless her heart. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I went from owning a business to having a 2-story home, gated community, and I would go in and get my kids' stuff and sell it and trade it, and my kids would just sit there and cry, and you'd be like, I'll get it back, and they
And you
never
never get
understood
it
it.
back.
They'll
Yeah.
never understand it. Hopefully, no, never got it back. Only just kept
Last thing I want
losing
to
more
say
and
this
more and
week,
more and
guys.
more.
Last thing I want to say this week, and then I'm gonna stay quiet the rest of the week. What Miss Boswell just said, what she just said, is what we've been exactly what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. The moment I believe where the psychiatrist made a mistake and they mistook the behavior for something called addiction, when in reality the behavior was just trying not to be sick.
Yep.
Yes.
All
Just
right,
don't want to be sick.
Christy, I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You got
And
all of us kind
everybody
of
else.
emotional.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
trying
y'all.
to.
I
Yeah.
cry every time
I
I
don't
think
usually
about it.
cry either, but that kind of
Yeah.
like made me a little upset a little bit in a good
My
way. But I
kids
mean,
and
it just made me
everybody
think.
tell me, it's the past, let it go. And it's just something that you try to let go. And it's something you play back to. And every time I start getting low on my Suboxone and know I can't afford to go to get my script, it brings me back to, I got to figure this out.
I'm going to tell you
So
something I tell everybody, and I just want to tell you this. It's not about where you start in life, it's how you finish. And,
that's right.
like, we did make
That's
mistakes when
right.
we were on opioids, but you got to remember we were taking a product that was not properly tested. It poisoned our DNA. It put a lot of methylation into our DNA, and we can explain that more like as we talk, tomorrow or I mean next week, because I know today's Thursday. But once we explain everything to you, or Dr. Smith explains everything to you, or Dr. B, you're gonna really understand like what we're talking about, and I think you're gonna be able to forgive yourself a little bit easier, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have a lot of understanding on where you were at, and that you really didn't have any control over what you were doing,
I
and I think it's
knew.
gonna help you out.
That's just it. I knew I didn't. I knew that as soon as I took that line or that pill, I knew I was right back to who I was. So I knew it was something more, but you try to convince anybody else of that and you're just a scum of the earth piece of crap that,
Yeah, you're
nobody
crazy,
wanted around
mental
and everybody thought
problem.
you were full of shit.
You're a drug addict. You have a choice. Yeah, I've that's no one
Heard it
believes.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard all that as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you try to take and you can't get them to convince. Now my son, he understands it because he was doing the same thing. Now he actually ended up in prison. God don't ask me how, I never did. But probably because I had Jerry about to lose our house and everything else. But my son, he actually ended up in prison, but he would take his kids' stuff. And that's not my son at all, And I would tell him, I tried to tell you not to take the stuff. You ain't no stronger than me because I know I'm strong. And I know I didn't choose to go through what I went through, you know. So, and I knew if I could have stopped it, I would have. And it wasn't that I couldn't stop it, is I would get so sick that all I would give it, I didn't care about nothing, just not sick. And I would tell him all the time, I just don't want to be sick. I don't care about that bill. I don't want to be sick. You don't understand how sick I get. And he's like, I don't. He didn't give a shit about how sick I got. He couldn't understand it. If you've not been there, you won't understand it. You'll never
Right.
understand
Correct.
it. Never.
Well,
No matter
well,
how hard they
guys, 30
try to
minutes is
understand
never
it.
enough time, is it?
No.
Thank you
No.
so much again for coming on today. I
Oh
really,
Yes,
no,
you
really
are a blessing.
absolutely.
Thank
appreciate
Thanks
you.
you
for
Absolutely.
coming
having me.
on.
No, I'll be more than
Absolutely.
happy to come back whenever.
Yeah, you are welcome to
Monday.
come anytime you want.
Okay,
Yes.
Monday, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Monday.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
call me when the show is over, okay?
Okay.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Christy.
joining us. every Monday through Thursday, live with Dr. B. Hill, guys. So y'all have a blessed weekend.
You too.
Thank you so much, everybody, and
Thank you.
keep shopping.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Yeah.
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, guys.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye bye.
Bye.